It's just egotism that we think it is, that we think we're superior beings. And I'm not sure, pound for pound, we're as superior as the ant, given his size and his intelligence. We probably don't pack as much intelligence, relatively speaking, in the body weight that we carry. I know that my bird is smarter pound for pound than me. And his brain function is 10 times better than my mother's. And he's only about 2 pounds. So I don't even think he's 2 pounds. And the cat, well, the cat's a bloody genius. So, so I don't know, about these creatures. That we're superior, I doubt. But the Hindus have a thing for that. They do believe that you're reborn in all these creatures anyway. So they've already taken that into consideration. The Hindus have. But I don't think we look upon them as big soul people. We only think we're the soul people. Well, Whitman says the body and the soul are one, and it's a position. And I'm not sure he sticks to it. He's not trying to be a consistent philosopher, but you see, he announces it. Let me read you a poem at the end of this collection, if I could. Goodbye, My Fancy. This is a section he has. There's lots of poems here, obviously, that were not in the poems he originally sent to Emerson. If Emerson had seen some of these other ones, he might not have written him that letter. So, because he's writing about anything he can, it seems to me, if I can find this. This is a poem that he writes, I think, towards the end of his life when he's kind of summing things up. I see in this thing Osceola. He's got poems to American Indian leaders in the 18th century and so on, 19th century. But here's this poem at the end of this section. This is 1890s. Goodbye, my fancy. Farewell, dear mate, dear love. I don't know what page it's on in your book. You've got an index, you can find it. How many, huh? I just said goodbye, my fancy, about 4 times. Look at the index. Can you guys, well, I'm going to wait for you to find it. Farewell, dear mate, dear love. I'm going away, I know not where, or to what fortune, or whether I'll never see you again. So goodbye, my fancy. Now for my last, let me look back a moment. The slower, fainter ticking of the clock is in me. Exit nightfall, and soon the heart thud stopping. So he's towards the end of his life. He's writing to something he calls his fancy. As it will turn out, he's writing to his soul that he calls his fancy. But it also could be a poem you write to a loved one that you're leaving. Long have we lived, joyed, caressed, together, delightful, now separation. Goodbye, my fancy. Yet let me not be too hasty. Long indeed have we lived, slept, filtered, become really blended into one. Then if we die together. Yes, we'll remain one. If we go anywhere, we'll go together to meet what happens. Maybe we'll be better off and blither and learn something. He creates his own words, blither, happier. Maybe it is you now really ushering me to the true songs. Who knows? Maybe it is you, the mortal knob, really undoing, turning. So now, finally, goodbye and hail my fancy. Well, I mean, it's not a great poem or anything like that, but even at the end then, he's writing to his soul, just as he does at the beginning. At the beginning, he's talking about the soul, and at the end, he's talking about the soul. You could give this poem, if you like giving poems to friends or people you care about, to a loved one, because it's like the sadness of leaving a loved one. And when I first read it, I thought, of course I knew what he was like, he didn't have loved ones, but that he was writing to someone that he loved. So it's a nice little touching poem, comes at the end of his work. So it is about the soul. So let's review a little bit his life before we read this Song of Myself. We have here poems before Song of Myself. This was published in 1855, Song of Myself, and revised. Here's one right before it in this collection, starting from Pomona. He puts that before it. Again, I hope you have a book, because you really can't do a class like this without a book. And useless to listen to me talk about something you don't even have in front of you. So I really do remonstrate with you that you should have a book. And if you don't have any other books, you certainly should have this book. If you're trying to save money, you save money on the wrong book. This is the book you should buy, because this is something that you can cherish and keep and get some benefit from. I don't think the other books will necessarily be something you want to reread in your life. So if you didn't buy this book for some reason, and I don't know why, this is the one you should have. So I would recommend not only you get it, but you bring it. So, because there's no point reading a poem together if you don't have a book in front of you, and I see 2/3 of you don't have it, and that really, I find that painful. So I know people don't like to be hectored by grown-up